Incel, involuntary celibate. For a while, you've been raking your brain trying to figure out why does this person appear so angry? I thought about it a while ago, and I'm not even. Let's use him as the backdrop, right? But hello first. Hello, hi. It is me, Desai. Internet and akastraha ambaka lau ya la. You guys, we're doing great. I feel a lot better today. I did go to the doctors. I did get a shot, and they gave me some meds. Like I sound clearer. Like my body is definitely performing a lot better. And I've got tons and tons of work to do. And I'm still sitting on the floor in the living room because I can't sit in my workroom because there's construction. But that doesn't matter. Pori is trending. I need to do better at like tagging the blogs that I get or just putting the links in the description boxes of the blogs that I get the links from. So in the last video, I did remember to go because usually when I attach the videos or whatever, I will leave, like if they've got a watermark, I won't try to take that out because why would I even go through that? Also, they make it so big, but I just wouldn't. And because I do that, or it's a TikTok, I make sure like the last bit where the person's handle is included, I make sure to leave that in the video. But I need to do better at tagging, okay? Or whatever. Anyway, Pori is trending on or was posted on my Pepandaba, and he's going on and on about how basically all you bitches is my sons. If you're like in the Yanos, you're my son, and y'all need to stop talking about the contract I sign. These deals it's above you, basically. This is above your pay grade. You wouldn't understand anyway, okay? Very arrogant, and everybody in the comments really clocks him on that, but like he doesn't care. And then in the second slide, they posted that very viral picture of him in his younger years trying to make sense of it at like he was DJing. And every time I see that picture, or every time he trends, I hope I'm not yelling at you guys because I've decided that maybe if I hold the mic, I've also realized that holding something like anchors me. Like I'm having coffee, but I'm having it in like a tiny cup. If I was having it in my mug, I'll just hold the mug, right? It anchors. I don't know what that's about. Don't diagnose me. Okay, you can, but we'll laugh about it. Every time I see him trending, and it's like, oh, he took the car back, or him and Tuli broke up and he did this, or he did whatever. He reminds me of an incel that managed to make it out of like incelhood, but with the teachings. It's almost like they were thrust into a sphere where they can participate in the world as a regular man, and that they amassed some wealth or resources that now has put them in a position where they can otherwise buy themselves into spaces that they would otherwise would be excluded from if they were just like the average guy, which he was, right? Or below average. And I say below average because he just doesn't strike me as a conversationalist. I don't necessarily think he's a bad looking guy. He looks like a lot of Tonga boys I know, like a lot of boys I know. He just looks like an average guy to me. But I don't think there's anything to him that makes him interesting. And I think that's the thing about being an incel when you are unpacking, but why don't girls want me? Why aren't I getting play? A lot of it for the guys because they don't understand the attraction, what draws us to men. And yes, not all of us are drawn to things outside of the physical. Some girls really like a good looking man, right? But they put a lot of stock in it. And it's not a lie, right? It's not a lie, but beauty is currency. Although it does function similar, it doesn't function quite as it's not identical. Where you're not an attractive woman, the world would actually treat you harshly. But if you are not an attractive man, but you have other stuff like, you got the swag, you've got the charisma, a confidence about you, a talent, you're smart, all of those things that you can hone, because it's not like every little boy or every teenager coming into himself who finds himself in spaces where he can explore his body sexually with another person of the same age. It's not that all those boys are necessarily good looking, right? Maybe you can make the girls laugh, maybe you're just tall, maybe not, like, do you understand? Maybe you're not chill, but like, the incels put a lot of stock into looks maxing and all of that stuff, you see, which Pori, he can't play in that field. So he's pushed into the space of having to amass resources by way of, I guess, riches. I don't want to call it wealth. I don't know if I can really use that term to describe him, but money, essentially, right? And he managed to do that through his music. But you look at this picture of him, and I don't think this boy is getting play, right? I think this boy is part of his motivation. The men who are honest let us know. Part of his motivation is like, like, and he'll finally have access to the girls like Tuli. And then he'll be content and he'll have the respect of his peers and he'll be content. But quite the opposite happens, right? You amass the stuff that buy you access into these spaces. And while sitting there, you are still that little boy inside, hurt because you weren't getting play and you weren't getting the respect of your peers. And now you sit there seething, fucking seething, and it comes out in your dealings with these people that you so badly wanted to be close to, but you're resentful because at the back of your mind, you remember when they wouldn't let you have any play, right? And you're like, if I don't have these things, this person isn't here. I think I mentioned this is it a video ago? That intrinsic worth that men feel like they don't have it. And a lot of them feel like women get to be, adored, appreciated, even if they don't have the stuff. And the stuff is always money. And they feel like they have to work for the respect of their peers, or work for to be protected, work to be loved, work to receive any kind of kindness, which to me, as a fat woman who's been a fat girl, who's been considered not attractive, I think it's laughable. I think it's laughable because I get snubbed by boys who look like Pori on the decks, plus other boys who are the guys he wants to be. But I'm not walking around here an angry woman because I was a wounded little girl because I wasn't noticed by the boys. Because I've had to spend time with stuff. I've had to spend time peeling back the layers and being like, what did this mean? But what would you have been happy if that kind of guy gave you attention? I think I've said this to you guys. I look at like my beautiful friends and the kind of guys that were giving them attention and that what harm that has caused them. And maybe I'm just saying it to make myself feel better. I don't think so. They dated some fucking shitty people who came from I still don't understand why girls in my little ecosystem, my little tiny township and my little tiny town, why girls still want these particular boys that I'm talking about. They're fucking disgusting. They were disgusting then, they're disgusting now. I found them disgusting then. I still find them disgusting now. I think for me, as I guess a femcel, especially through my teen years, it's a bit complicated with that. I think I have a video on here explaining the difference. I did not want these boys, but I had a hard time understanding why must they be rude? Like, and then you grow up and you realize, oh no, the teachings for men is that men get this, or the teachings for little boys is that girls like you, like they feel entitled to certain things, right? And when they don't get them, it produces a pori. when they don't get the adoration, the girls like wanting them, they don't get to have the same like coming of age experiences. It's all sex, by the way. That the other popular boys get to have, they feel robbed because the teaching is very much that they get to walk around feeling entitled to these experiences. They taught to expect these experiences, therefore they feel entitled to these experiences, and not getting them creates a lot of anger. Me as an unattractive girl, I don't get the same teaching. I'm not what is it, socialized to think that I'm gonna have a slew of men lined up to talk to me. It's made very clear that that's reserved for the pretty girl. I understand it very early on, and I don't seek it. I think where the confusion happens for us is, oh, we knew we weren't going to get that, but nobody told us that the boys are allowed to just be mean to us just because we're not fuckable. That's the unpacking that I had to do, right? Where I was like, I don't understand. Why must you be rude? Like, fine, I get that you want to talk to my pretty friend, but like, why must you like shove me out of the way? Why can't you just say, oh, hi, deeds? And then like, oh, is so and so, or can I speak to so and so? Why must you get there and start talking to my friend like I don't even exist, right? That's the stuff that we unattractive girls, or the girls who didn't get play in our like years where we were supposed to be learning and discovering and that stuff. That's the kind of unpacking we have to do. And a lot of us do it. A lot of us do it and we laugh about it and we're healed, and we can sit here now and say, I actually dodged a bullet because my friends who got play, man, did they get played? Okay, like it's crazy out here. But the boy version of me is definitely Maphorisa, guys. I am telling you, or Maphorisa type guys. Let me say that. How he comes, his demeanor, what he gives off online is very much angry little, didn't nobody want to fuck me, I had to play with myself energy. Like he did, and I'm not shaming anybody who goes through this. I'm saying that little boy in him, or men like him rather, you need to pay attention. When they don't heal that inner boy that didn't get play, you can't save them. It will happen at your expense, because that resentment is what drives them. Okay. When he's hanging around with the Sir Trills of the world, he's looking at you like you're probably the type of guy that would have got the girl that I want. That's what goes through these type of guys' heads. Like, you're the right. So he wants to screw you over. He wants to establish that hierarchy where it's like he's on top now. You know, remember when it was you? Remember when all the well, it's my fucking turn now. This person is dangerous. Incels are actually, they're a terrorist group. They're very dangerous in a society where young boys, when they come into manhood, are taught that they are deserving of stuff that they haven't earned. Like, as an accident of their birth, they have a penis. Therefore, this penis commands this, and they're not getting those things. And in their minds, when they see other men getting those things, they assume it's coming easy, right? And they look for the things in those men that they don't have, and oh, it must be his chiseled jawline, and it must be because that they can't exit themselves enough to see that, oh, maybe girls aren't drawn to looks the way we're socialized to be drawn into looks. Let me work on some, skills on how to like talk to people, not necessarily girls, but people. Let me work at seeing women as people and not sexual objects, because maybe that would teach me to converse a lot better. And maybe I can carry a conversation long enough for both of us to develop an interest in each other. Girls like Tuli are in danger. Pori is the guy who's now an engineer who didn't get play. It doesn't look like one particular thing. Because I know sometimes when we date squares or when they encourage you to, or just date like a square, essentially, right? Date some guy who's now like all he worked hard all of high school, he had his nose in the books and he wasn't paying attention to whatever. He'll be so happy that a girl like you, Tuli, is finally giving him attention. He's an angry little boy. He's angry that in grade 11 he couldn't even look at girls who look like you, because you would have been like, well, anything when I like, or laugh at him. Like, you really think, or if he dared to sum up the courage to even ask you, how much you'd snub him and how much you'd become a joke, and you and the Sir Trills of the world. I'm just using these people's names, not that this is who they are. Okay, to just give you a bit understanding of what that dynamic is. Pori is Diddy. Diddy's side profile tells you everything you have to know about him. He does not bag a Cassie unless he is Diddy of Bad Boy. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they know it. It bugs them that there's still some like slob of a guy in the ghetto. I know we get on here and we talk about how we don't fuck broke dudes anymore. We're lying. And the boys know we're lying because they homeboy who don't got shit going on but has this like thing about him. That dude is still getting play. He's never not gotten play. That shit angers a Pori type person, guys. Pori's a loser. What you see, everybody could clock it in Finita. Everybody could clock, oh, she will always be that little fat girl who can't believe that she's finally thin, or she finally got the thing she wanted and she's in it, but she's not happy. She's realizing that it's not what she thought it would be, and she's bleeding on everybody. Everybody clocked it when it's Finita. When it's the men, we don't clock it quite, because being nasty, being unkind, is something we've decided is our masculine traits. My helper's phone started ringing. But he's an insecure little boy and he'll always be that. Hence the need to constantly have his knee on somebody's neck, right? The need to remind the little boys coming after him that he's the main guy. When you're the main guy, you really have to make these little announcements every fortnight telling us about how you're the main guy. You just main guy. You main guy. Like, you don't need to tell us about it. There's a confidence about you where the truth of the matter is that the Sir Trills of the world, and I'm using him, and I don't mean him in particular, but guys who present like him. You need to understand that a guy like this knows that if it were to all go away tomorrow, you'd remind him that he's an actual fact a loser. So the thing about you guys, about men, is that when we explain how things will eventually harm you, that's why I am always like, shout out to the intersection of, but like, shout out, but me, sometimes I gotta go. Like, all of this explaining that they do, where they try to explain to men how these systems eventually harm everybody. They are harmful in nature. So once they're done with me, the hunger is insatiable. Like, they need to find a new target. It doesn't just stop. But because in your mind, incels are for the most part a danger to hot girls, you think it's not your problem. But you don't realize that your boss is an incel. Your boss who keeps making you redo paperwork that you know is on point, making you go around in laps. That's a little boy in there living out his fantasies of having what you probably presenting as the guy who doesn't have to work that hard at things, right? It comes to you there being all kiki and funny, a little personality higher if you would like, and it angers him. They show up in all types of spaces and we're all fucked. But because you don't understand that it's going to eventually harm you too, you don't think it's your problem to try and fix, to try and find different ways to have young boys and young men define manhood. Because it always goes back to that, right? If you racking up bodies wasn't this thing that your uncles dab you up for, or they're like, why are you hitting that? Are you so I know like okay? Do you understand? If that wasn't the culture, then there is no pressure for a 14-year-old boy who just 2 weeks ago was obsessed with comics, and now some uncle of his told him that's some fucking gay shit or that's some childish shit, right? Now some uncle of his told him, now he has to like take an interest in this new thing that he's failing dismally at, and he's been laughed at and been made to feel very, very small, and he can't participate in this boyhood experience like his peers. If you all don't come back and rework that, we always end up here. This is where we always end up. But you don't see it, right? This is why I said I don't have the energy to, but you see what I just did right now? I did you all a fucking favor. I don't like explaining things to men because I feel like a lot of them understand, and I've said this to you guys, I feel like a lot of them understand how these things harm them. They just think they harm women more. Therefore, they don't need to care that much. That's why I don't care to come and explain anything to them. They're very comfortable with things that harm me. Very comfortable with that. It's never their problem. Now look at you. Now fucking look at you. You've got a late bloomer. A motherfucker that's still angry because he couldn't get a light-skinned bitch when he was 15. You got that motherfucker locking you into weird contracts, and you can't identify why it's even happening. Oh, he's just so evil. No, what he is a horny, angry teenager. He is an angry, horny teenage boy inside of him, and that boy's vengeance, or his wrath, will be felt until he will bleed on everybody until he's dethroned somehow. He's not gonna stop. No. But in case you've been wondering, it's giving Incel energy. If you've really been wondering what is really going on with this person, like, you have the success, you're the guy, you have the hot girl, it's not fulfilling. It's not what you think it's going to be. The sell is a lie. You get there and you don't feel like you belong there. You feel like an imposter all the fucking time, and you're an angry little boy with no tools to handle your emotions, and you bleed on everybody. But good luck, you all.